I grew up in the UK as an only child in a single household, so it was my escape because there's lots of boredom and lots of quiet time, and I pretty much always had my pencils out. I was always drawing. My father's an artist, so some of my earliest memories are going to visit him every other weekend, and he'd teach me how to draw and set up a still life, or we'd go out drawing. I left school at 16 and went straight to art school and started to get very interested in pattern and surface pattern and textiles, so I went on to study textile design. That was a really fantastic course because it was quite classical in its training, and we did lots of still life painting and lots of studying of flowers and plants and art history, and we spent quite a lot of time up in London at the V&A Museum. I started off doing what I consider fine art, and then switched to work as a designer for many years, and now back to fine art again. It's an interesting mix of experiences to come back to fine art after being a designer. It's really refreshing not to have a brief to work to as well, and just kind of let the art speak for itself, and let the narrative kind of appear, I suppose. Start working away at something. It's not so strict, and that's something I'm really enjoying. So the area that I live in is semi-industrial. It's inner city, and it's quite eclectic. The people are really eclectic, and I'm quite inspired by the gardens and the street trees and the natural surroundings that we have here that coexist within the urban environment. You take a walk around here, it's Victorian terraces, it's quite sort of densely populated here, but we've got just a really crazy amount of different species growing in gardens, and I'm quite tuned into that on my daily walks. All throughout the seasons there's a real kind of never-ending supply of inspiration, I guess, just in the gardens and the streets where I live. The very nature of Australian plants and their hardiness and their sort of scrubbiness, and they're just totally unique, and so I find that I'm really tuned into the shapes and the forms of that, because it's so different to what I grew up with. I grew up in a city as well, but it's very grey and quite brutalist. Portsmouth got quite badly bombed during the war, and it's not really a place where people have gardens. You don't experience that kind of nature in the city as much as you do here in Australia. Parrots flying through trees and cockatoos, and it's all, it's completely different to where I grew up. And I've lived here 25 years, but I still get a rush, I still get a buzz when I see a swarm of cockatoos flying over. It sounds cliches, but a kookaburra sitting on a gum tree, it's just such a beautiful little snapshot of what we have here that is unique. And it's a never-ending supply of inspiration if you're tuned into it, just even in the inner city. Being on Bluethumb and selling work quite regularly has really been the catalyst for me stopping my day job and taking this up full time. So there's another outlet for my work. So it's been really important for me this year, joining Bluethumb. It's been a bit of a game changer.